to Wrestling Sheet Radio. I'm your host, ProWrestlingSheet.com editor-in-chief Ryan Satin. I'm here with my co-host Jamie Iovine.
Hey everybody.
And Elijah Bates.
Hola amigos.
I'm sorry for bailing on you guys last week. Luckily we had Rachel Sam Evans hop in here from Best of the Rest, but I had to go cover the Women of Wrestling show that was in Los Angeles last week.
Did you have a good time, Ryan?
I did have a good time, actually. You know, I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah.
It was very much like it felt like what I would picture Glow being like
That's
in 2018.
what I was about to ask. Does it have more of a Glow feel to it or just another promotion feel?
Very much a Glow feel to it. Like the characters they're different than what you would see now. They're very much
kind of like Memphis-y, right?
Yeah, I guess that is a good way of looking at it because the guy who started this is the same guy who started Glow.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Because and if you know, I mean, you don't even have to know that much about Glow to know that like characters were the forefront.
Yeah,
characters welcome.
I like that Memphis-y,
much like USA.
Very much so.
I like that Memphis-y is like this like description of pro wrestling, similar like how it is like barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, like they're like okay, it's because Jerry Lawler one day looked at a tree and was like, I could get that over a Christmas tree, and he looked at it was like, I could make that a thing, and he did.
Yeah.
And then that's how Kane got his break. And then now he's Kane because he was the Christmas creature at first. But that's why I'm saying it's a Memphis thing.
Yeah.
No, I think the way you described it made perfect sense to me. And yeah, I think that is a good way of describing it because, I mean, a lot of the characters were very much like over-the-top kind of characters, like the best lawyer in the world or like
he wouldn't be wrestling.
Or the second best lawyer.
That was my favorite part about it, that it said that they were the best lawyer in the world. I thought the same thing when I saw that.
Wait, so
That's
were they
funny.
like, I'm the best lawyer in the world, and now I'm going to become the best wrestler
Well,
in the
she was.
world?
I think she was a manager.
Okay.
And I don't want to give away results because they were very courteous about the whole thing, but she did use her legal skills as a manager to help clients and stuff like that.
Like did she hit people with a legal pad?
No, I think I didn't see it, so I wasn't there for this part of the but I think she like helped one of her clients get off of some kind of.
She
really
didn't
big
just
case.
said it. She passed the bar.
Yeah. And she literally slaps people with a cease and desist.
There was like another character called.
That's
her
a
name was-
T-shirt. I passed the bar, like just a bar T-shirt. But I passed the bar. I'm making merch for these people.
Well, you're a merch maker these days, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yes.
Yes. Network. Get it.
Yeah. And TWRK on the App Store.
There was also someone named, I think her name was Nikki Krampus.
Okay.
And she had like the Krampus, like Krampus looking mask, like
Like this another Christmas thing.
yeah, yes,
Yeah, there's a lot of Christmas in this episode.
yeah, and she was from like the darkest. What was it? Where was she from? It was like from the darkness of Norway or something like that, which I liked.
Yeah.
But you would think that he would be from the South Pole.
Yeah.
That's where I would make him.
I think I don't know the Krampus
Lore.
but I believe it was matched with where Krampus is
Yes,
from.
I know. Yes, it is a Norse or something like
that's
that.
what you said.
I think that is. I think that is a. I know it
Yeah.
was like a foreign like legend, but I'm saying if I were to make the antithesis to Santa Claus, I'd make him from the North Pole.
If
Yeah,
I was going to be a
understandable.
creepy holiday character too, I'd be Belschnickel, which was the Christmas character that Dwight Schrute introduced.
Yes, I remember Belschnickel.
Belschnickel.
I asked people for suggestions for Halloween costumes for Eric and I this year, and someone said you guys should go as Michael Scott and Sexy Toby, and I was like, I don't think I could pull off Sexy Toby.
That'd be. That's funny that you responded like that.
know what
that
character
you
from the
automatically assume that you would be Toby.
Like, I don't know what character from The Office you would be, actually.
You couldn't do it. None of them have facial hair like that.
No.
I could be like Ryan when he became like an exec or whatever, but that wouldn't be
It wasn't
funny.
even. Yeah.
It wouldn't be a funny costume at all. Now we're still working on it. Anyways, but yeah, WoW was fun. I want to mention, besides just being like Glow 2018, it was cool because I think when people think of Glow, they don't necessarily think of like good wrestling. I don't think that's the connotation there.
Yeah.
It's kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
This definitely didn't feel that way in terms of the in-ring stuff.
Okay.
Like the in-ring stuff was, man, there were some really good matches I saw there that I was like, man, like this actually, like they could be onto something here because of the success of Glow. You know, because of like, it's kind of like, over the top characters that are very much kind of old school feeling in terms of old school wrestling feeling. I don't know. I think people might dig it.
All right. Well, good for them. Good luck.
Yeah, it airs. I think.
Good luck, guys.
I think it starts airing in January of 2019 is when I think it starts airing. So I'll be able to say more about it then. But they didn't want me to put all the results out there, so I don't want to say too much. But check it out when it does it.
Good luck, gang.
Now, the biggest story of the week, obviously, is everything going on with Crown Jewel. I mean, this whole thing has been a mess. I even think a mess is like a understatement at this point.
There will be a movie about it.
You think?
Oh, no question.
About just what's happening?
No,
there?
About what's happening in Saudi Arabia for sure.
Yeah.
That whole case about the journalist will be a movie. I guarantee.
Sure. Like the more details that come out about that, just about the supposed people that think were behind the murder or whatever.
I mean, it reads like a movie.
They go into like the consulate hours before, come out like before the dude arrives, leave hours later, and everything like that. It's just like the more and more information comes out, and not even like hearsay, but like time-stamped footage, things of that
audio
nature,
recordings,
where it's just
none of that has actually come out yet.
It's all been a lot of...
none of it has come out yet. And
it's all been...
Yeah, it's all speculative.
Well, it's not even speculative. It's been like reported. So basically, like, I believe the most recent update is that the Turkish officials who are running the investigation or who claim to have the audio and video of the murder. From what I read today, I'm almost positive what I read today is that they played the audio for a U.S. official.
Yeah.
And they sent them the transcripts of what is in the audio, but publicly the audio and video have not been released yet or anything
like that.
why that hasn't. Well, it's someone.
It's part of an investigation.
Well, it's also someone being murdered. I mean, at the end of the day, you're putting out a snuff film. Basically, you're putting out like a murder.
I know that, but when those dudes were like kidnapping people and cutting their heads off in Iraq or whatever a couple of years ago, that was all over the news.
They intended to.
Was it all over the news?
Well,
it was all over the news. Like, they intended like a new beheading video is getting released.
They would cut off usually before it, but I mean,
they
also
would cut off most of those videos.
But also,
I see what you're saying. But
those videos were also meant to be released. Like they wanted.
Yeah, that's true. That's also, and I think that's. I'm wondering if the muddiness of it is because they were probably recording illegally. Like they were probably not supposed to be recording in the consulate. Like I think that is probably where the issue stands. About that, is that because wasn't it in the Saudi consulate in Turkey? I believe. Yeah. So like Turkey shouldn't have been filming in the Saudi consulate.
That's such a muddy area too. Yeah. Whenever you get into like legality,
throw in a pro wrestling show in there, we got a movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's the craziest part about all this to me is that there's this international news story. I mean, this is an international news story. I mean, you can't avoid this story. You open Twitter, you turn on the news, they're covering this. It is everywhere, and the pressure on WWE has just been mounting and mounting and mounting.
I wonder if, like, behind the scenes, they're just like, God dang it! Like, what the hell?
Like, each day they wake up and it's just worse news. It's like, there's even more reason why we might not be able to do it.
We're not going to get our $50 million.
I mean, that's the craziest part about it is that at the end of the day, it really is just money. It's like, and that's the U.S. too, like the same reason we're not jumping to it, the president or whatever, the government, for the exact same reason. Like we're in bed with them. Like they have tons of money they're giving the United States. Like it's a fucking crazy situation, and it's so weird for me to be someone who covers wrestling news for a living to be talking about something like this, to where WWE is anywhere near adjacent to this.
It hasn't been this much at stake ever. It's never been that serious.
I'm curious, like what the actual backstage climate is, like what people are feeling, because this is obviously something where they're trying to keep all their employees tight-lipped, I'm sure, or asking them to remain tight-lipped about this. But regardless of anything, like their opinions on the matter have not been made public, and I'm just like curious. Like I was thinking about it last night. It's like, I wonder what like Shawn Michaels thinks of all this. Like, I mean, I know that he's set to get like a fat payday and everything like that, but at the same time, it's just like
he's like a super religious dude who, like, I mean, doesn't probably want to be involved in this.
No, and not only that, it's like he's been peacefully retired for a long time. It's just like I'm really curious as to what's going through his head.
Your first match back is surrounded by all this tension.
Where your first match back, which should be the story, is a footnote.
Yeah.
Well, your first match back, and no one's even excited about it. Like, that's not the story. The story is not Shawn Michaels returning. The story is that Shawn Michaels is going to Saudi Arabia for the show.
Did you audibly hear when Braun Strowman said Crown Jewel that the whole crowd started booing? On
No, I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah, I know. It was no. Hold on.
Or was it
Braun.
Undertaker?
It was the Undertaker.
It was the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I made a mistake. It was Undertaker's. It was SmackDown. I thought it was Raw. Sorry.
The worst promo ever from.
Yeah,
from
but when
Undertaker?
he said Crown Jewel, the whole crowd started booing. Which I'm not. But the fact is, it was in DC as well, which is even more interesting.
Yeah.
That's a very.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think? I just.
I truly don't know if they're going to cancel it. I truly don't know.
I don't think they're going to cancel
Here's
it.
how I look at it.
I could see them relocating it.
I look at it as they're only going to cancel it if that video comes out.
Yeah,
or
they have
if
to.
the audio comes
They
out, or if
have
the
to.
Saudi government admits
Because
to being involved.
to be fair, there isn't necessarily concrete evidence of what happened.
Not yet.
It's not like you said. It's been reported on, largely speculated, with evidence supporting that speculation, or
Well,
with
it seems
circumstantial
like
evidence.
the reports are all basing the information on Turkish intelligence while they're investigating the situation.
Turkelligence.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. It seems to me like the fake news types who are like, screw CNN and all that kind of stuff. They're not really going to believe it until there is something more concrete.
Yeah.
And I think that's what WWE is really.
Well, I mean, they can
betting
do
on.
that because again, they've been through the muck enough times. I feel like in the WWE, they've faced so many moments of pure controversy. Whether it be just from people passing away too early, whether it be from like Chris Benoit or situations like that.
Drug issues, sexual harassment issues.
They've been through major issues, deaths of wrestlers during live events. I mean, like a lot. I mean, it sucks that it's all death related, but in regard to this, I mean, they can probably see the silver lining. And I'm not supporting or standing against and saying this, but they've been through enough things that they realize what the effect is right now and what the long-term effect is later. A lot of these controversies, especially in this day and age, become massive deals presently, but by tomorrow they're forgotten. By tomorrow the effect is minimalized big time. So let's say that they go against the grain right now. No concrete evidence has come out. By the time they go and do the event, concrete evidence comes out afterwards. They claim ignorance. They're like, well, we didn't know until then. It was just pure speculation. Honestly, they're going to be able to go right on their merry way because people are going to forget about it real fast.
If they play it that way, absolutely.
Like, I mean, in wrestling
And I
fans,
think that's the way they're going to play it.
yeah, for sure. And wrestling fans will move right along with them. They always do.
Yeah.
It's just concerning, man. Like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen, too. But fuck, man, that's bothersome. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Like,
What bothers you so much about it?
the blood money. Like, this guy's an American citizen that was a journalist that got fucking murdered by by the government of another country, and we're just like, and WWE is like, whatever, they're paying us 50 mil or whatever, and that's like, man, dude, like, you know what it is? The problem for me isn't so much that, because let's be honest, like I said, the Saudi government's been giving the American government money for forever too. Like the Saudi government owns half of Twitter. Like these are things that happen. But I think what bothers me the most about it is that mainly Stephanie, then goes out there and for a year she'll do this campaign. She's been doing it for years now. Every year talking about the goodwill of WWE and how WWE is all about equality and helping people in need and treating people equally, all that kind of stuff. But then they're gonna take murder money. Like, that's bad, dude.
Yeah.
And look it is what it is. But I'm not okay with it. But I'm just angry about it in the sense of, you can't paint yourself as one thing and then be another and expect me to treat you like that one thing you were painting yourself as.
Yeah.
Well,
if you want to be this thing, I'm going to treat you like that thing.
Yeah.
Well, the entire there's a lot of hypocrisy that goes on in the dealings of professional wrestling, WWE more specifically, and we always see that they'll put all these foot forwards of with Dana Warrior is a case in point. Dana Warrior did this huge and the WWE probably got her to do it. This huge LGBTQ Pride Day. Post.
LGBTQT.
I always forget which order they're in, and that's just because I'm terrible at acronyms. But
you're terrible at pronouncing just written names in general.
To be fair, that's not even truly an acronym. That's just a list.
Anyway, But that case in point is Dana Warrior posting this whole thing about how everybody should be happy with who they are, where her husband didn't just say it once. He went on a world tour talking about how much he didn't like gay people.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that, you know.
His blogs are still on the internet as we speak. That says how much he hates gays and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm with you.
So it's a lot of that. And we all know that it's... my whole thing with the WWE when they say things and they do something else, you know, I've started to take a lot of what WWE does with a grain of salt, because as a lot of podcasts have been saying, things change, and WWE is very ever flowing. You know,
Yeah.
it's never really been set. They've never really set their feet into something, whatever cause it may be.
No, they stay very amiable with everything as much as they can.
But there's one thing that they will always fall back on, and it's just goes to speak that just the kind of guy Vince McMahon is, because we've seen people who have wished death on Vince and almost put him in prison. And he brings them back just to make money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that's
he cares. I mean, the dude cares a lot about making money.
Yes. And that just goes to if you think that Vince is losing sleep over where the location of this missing journalist is, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
He could care less.
Yeah.
The fact that this could potentially harm his business, I think he's more angry that the guy got caught. He's like, I should have been faster, damn it.
Yeah.
Like I think he's mad that he's almost angry at the guy for getting murdered.
Well, I also think that, you know, Vince, because of the things that you mentioned, because of all the controversies that WWE has gone through and all the weathers, you know, all the storms they've weathered through, like, I think that Vince has a very negative view of news.
Yeah.
You know, so
he has to. He has to.
So I would imagine he's very much in the anti-CNN, anti-New York Times camp. So
well, and I would assume also
before
that
I forget,
yeah, sure,
is that those are the people largely reporting on this.
Yeah.
And so I believe that if Vince McMahon probably looks at the situation and says,
they're all ganging up on us.
The media is out to get they're drumming up fake news and all this kind of stuff. However, the president, who I'm friends with, who gave my wife a job, he's defending them and saying that, you know, we should give them that they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's the way he's looking at it. And yeah, I agree with you. He's probably not losing sleep over it at all.
No, and one of the big things to keep in mind with this too is that there are a lot of people backing out of, like, you know, various engagements in Saudi Arabia right now. And the reason that those people do it, there's some of them probably have moral fiber like yourself, where they're actually making a morally justified decision. However, a lot of those people, I guarantee you, are doing it more for a public relations move that they're getting out of it.
Yes.
Because they stand to lose money. In the WWE's case, though, they're going to lose probably more money by backing out of the event than they would if they had bad PR and they went through with the event but got the blood, or not. I don't want to call it blood.
Again. So you think
I'm saying that
they would lose more. You think
they
they would lose more?
They're going to
if
lose
if
more.
they don't do the event. If they did the event and got bad press.
If the WWE does not go to Saudi Arabia and gets good publicity, that's going to lose them money.
Yeah, I saw an article today where it was estimated they'd probably lose like $15 million.
But if they go through with it and they have bad PR with the WWE ain't going to stick around for that long. It's going to go away real fast. So I'm sure that Vince McMahon is looking at this, what he stands to lose on this side and what he stands to gain on this side, and he's like, I'll take the negative publicity for the $50 million because we're going to lose $15 million and have good publicity. And how long is that going to last them? Good publicity is only going to last as long as the news cycle.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. You know, I mean, you make a very strong point.
Thanks, I just came up with it.
No, you make a strong point. It's just that I think, yes, absolutely. Short term, I think that,
I agree with you, by the way. I stand on the side of,
I know you do.
I think that they should, but looking at it strictly on an economical sense.
If you look at it from Vince McMahon's
If you're
eyes,
just looking at stuff through the goggles of dollar signs, you're going to keep looking at Saudi Arabia and not stray away from that, because that's where $50 million is.
But I'm just going to go. But the one thing about this whole thing that's driving me nuts, I guess it's the same kind of thing that drives Ryan nuts, but a different sort of aspect of this whole news story, is people like Randy Orton and JBL, who I have no problems with JBL. Me and JBL got along great, so I have nothing ill against JBL. So, but only the fact that they keep driving this whole thing that they say we're not going to change Saudi Arabia if we don't come. It's like,
well, what bothers me
stop
about
thinking that this is going to cause change in the country.
like
and
you
then they
literally,
always
you were
cite,
there 6 months ago, and after that, the guy killed someone, like had paid for, ordered the murder of someone. You didn't change shit.
If anything, you made it more deadly.
and then they always
and on top of that, you aired a commercial during the show for how great Saudi Arabia is, which means it doesn't need to be changed. You're talking about how great it is for the people who are there currently.
Yeah.
So there's no change needed.
And they always
based on
cite
that propaganda video.
They
Propaganda.
always cite
Propaganda.
They always cite that one like crowd, like like when JBL said all these Saudi Arabian fans are chanting, "This is change."
Abu Dhabi.
I'm sorry. Abu Dhabi fans chanting, "This is change." Yeah, maybe. I don't know, a few thousand people, wrestling fans, that's not the general consensus of the entire country. It's a few of them. It's 1%, if that.
Well, it's also frustrating to me when they're harping on the change thing right now, because it's like, that was the narrative of last show.
Yeah.
That was the narrative of the last show, the women thing. But the complaints are so far beyond the women thing at this point. Like, yeah obviously the women thing is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But it's way beyond that at this point. The propaganda, the murder of a journalist. Like, there are so many things that have happened now. All these companies backing out. Just so many mounting things, like this giant snowball effect that you can't sit there and give that same rhetoric still. And I agree with you. I'm like you when it comes to JBL. Like, I've never had a bad moment with him. Like, he's always been very courteous with me, like very friendly with me when I did stories on him when I was at TMZ. Like, but I thought it was silly when he went on there. And
everybody's using that excuse.
Like,
that
he went
nothing is going to change if we don't go.
Like, he basically, for those of you who didn't see, he was on Fox Business, and he said, he basically accused, because there was a group of senators who spoke out against the event, and basically, they basically asked WWE to rethink the relationship with the Saudi Arabian government, or to pause it until all this plays out. And JBL went on this show and basically accuse these senators of doing this to drum up their approval ratings. And it was like, come on, man. Like, that's clearly not what's going on here.
Yeah.
And that's such like, and like, I like JBL, but that's such like a Trumpian move of like spin factor. Such a, and I know that's what politicians, and I know Jay's not necessarily a politician, but politicians like to do. But I just, it left a sour taste in my mouth. The same with Randy Orton. Like, the Randy Orton video frustrated me too, because it was like, you're so clearly avoiding the actual thing that people are mad about. Like, that's why I was so happy that Sam Roberts said something today. Sam Roberts put out his podcast, and he is pretty much, he's not a WWE employee, but he's someone who's paid money as an on-air talent for WWE. And he's the first one to say something negatively about the event. He basically publicly. He said that he does believe that WWE wants to be part of change in Saudi Arabia, but that he said, my own personal opinion is that because of this story, and because honestly the U.S. is still figuring out whether they're going to have to retaliate against Saudi Arabia, I don't think that Crown Jewel should take place in Saudi Arabia. I think that the show should go on. The show must go on. A big investment has been made into the show. It's going to cost WWE money. But I think WWE has got to eat this one. They were featured on Vice. They were featured on John Oliver this week, and it's not good press. He said, I would expect that they have a backup plan already, and at this moment, if you ask me today, I think they should use that backup plan. I got to agree with him, but I will say that's a big backup plan. Like, where do you... The only thing that comes to mind to me, and maybe selfishly, is Survivor Series. Like, Survivor Series right around the corner.
You just put everything that was going to be there onto Survivor Series?
At least Shawn Michaels...
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like, do you think Shawn Michaels still wrestles? Like,
I'm just realizing that if that happens, we could see Shawn Michaels.
I know. That's why I said selfishly. Because
but then
I will say selfishly that the wrestling fan in me saw that, and when everyone kept saying, well, Survivor Series makes sense, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be at Survivor Series. Am I going to see Shawn Michaels' return?
But don't you think that they would just move Crown Jewel as a whole event?
Yeah.
That's what I wonder that, but to me, there's not enough going on in the event to warrant that. Like, really, this is really being sold on...
The World Cup.
Well, the World Cup is bullshit. No one cares about it. And it's similar to, like, Braun getting that Greatest Royal Rumble belt that we never saw again, So, I I don't think the World Cup matters. Really, the only thing that matters on this show is DX versus the Brothers of Destruction. Move that over to Survivor Series. Move Daniel Bryan versus AJ to Survivor Series. I don't really see why it'd be an issue.
I mean, move the World Cup to Survivor Series. Why not?
I just dumped the World Cup.
Yeah. They're not going to just dump the World Cup.
It's the dumbest concept. It's only Americans. It's the dumbest
and
concept.
they had like 2 or 3 chances to make it diverse.
They could try.
They had 2 or 3 chances. Rusev lost, Jinder Mahal lost, and I think
Shinsuke lost.
And Shinsuke lost.
Rey Mysterio's in it, but
you know, I was actually looking.
He's an American citizen.
I was looking at the card the other day, and you know, I sometimes like when you look at these things that's in Saudi Arabia, it's like, what holes can I poke in like their lack of political awareness in this? And there's no African Americans on the card right now.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I checked it.
Is Bobby Lashley not in the World Cup?
He's not. I don't think so.
No, he's not. Okay.
No, like if you look at it, it's like it's a pretty. Outside of Mysterio and I guess Roman Reigns, it's pretty white.
It's pretty white. Let's see. What are the matches again?
It's Kurt, John.
Yeah, there's only 3 matches. It's Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman, which, same thing. You could easily move that over to Survivor Series. AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, and DX versus Brothers of Destruction. And then, John Cena, Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, and Rey Mysterio.
Just a melting pot of the world.
Yeah.
Exactly what I think of when I think of diversity.
It's a melting pot filled with white cheddar fondue.
I mean, just look at Jeff Hardy. He's colorful as all hell.
Even his eyes. Seth Rollins used to have yellow in his hair, for God's sakes.
Randy Orton's been everywhere.
He was in the military, for God's sakes.
I think, yeah.
For a short time. Till he went AWOL.
We got Mysterio. What do you want?
I do think that it would be very hard to move the entire event. Like, I feel like it would.
Nah, because they need that. Because also I'm sure they'll want to do the Survivor Series match. Because even though it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day, it's still a fun match. I like Survivor Series matches.
Yeah.
Eliminate the 5-on-5.
But the thing is, like, they could easily move the entirety of this event over, still do 2 Survivor Series matches, do 1 on the card, 1 on the pre-show. It'd be super simple to actually still have a whiff of Survivor Series in there. And likewise, there have been many Survivor Series events that did not have a Survivor Series match. It's exactly what I was thinking, actually, with this whole tournament and everything. I think you're right that they could probably scrub a good bit of this World Cup and just do like the
finish it on Raw
semifinal, or not the semifinals, quarterfinals on Raw and SmackDown, and just put like the last 3 matches on, similar like they used to do with King of the Ring a lot of times.
Just give them the hardcore. Just give them the hardcore title.
That would be awesome.
This is the only one that we're not using.
Real quick, I love obscure belts. And I'm so happy that they created that belt for Braun Strowman, because sometimes, like, whenever I deep dive and I'm like, I want to learn, like, I'll just start looking. It was like, what about that big world title belt that they created for Andre the Giant?
That's just going to be sitting in WWE.
Well,
I'm sure he has it. I'm sure
there's
he's
stuff
just in
like
his house.
that, and then there's just just various obscure, like the original light heavyweight title and stuff like that. I just love the fact that these things exist.
It's my dream to go to the WWE warehouse.
Yeah.
That's
how many years
dream,
away?
Because they just have them. I mean, they have all that stuff in boxes.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there in like a crate.
How many years away are we from getting replica Andre the Giant statues, like big ones?
That would be awesome.
That would be kind of cool. I'd be into that. Get one in the corner here.
$1,500.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool though.
Yeah,
just put it on the Collider bill, you know.
Yeah,
no, I don't have that yet. You guys just threw me. I was gonna say something else right there.
Well, I'm so sorry. I was talking about obscure belts.
No, that's what it was. Okay, sorry. I was on Reddit the other day, and I saw the coolest thing. It was like a timeline of the WWF title and like how it changed over the years and like all the different versions of it.
Yeah.
And there were some really cool versions that I had never seen before. That
like
I was
of the actual belt.
Of the mainly like from the 70s and you know back in the day.
Well, there's like kind of that before the Eagle Wing title or whatever.
There was like a blue one. There was a yellow one.
There was a bit of a more round one that was different than the title that Hogan won from the Iron Sheik back in '84. There was like kind of like this other world title that he used, I think, up until WrestleMania 3. And I think it was around WrestleMania 4 whenever they first started I could be wrong. When they first started using like kind of the Winged Eagle title and everything.
Then when Warrior won it, he got like 3 different belts.
Yeah, the dude was like, I want a green one.
Needs to match all my gear.
I want a diverse range of titles, even though I hate diversity.
Like he really had a yellow one. There was really a yellow belt.
I think he had a purple one when he lost it to Sergeant Slaughter at Royal Rumble 91.
Purple belt?
Yeah, it was a purple world title, I
That'd
believe.
be kind of dope to have it. Well, no.
It was like a light purple.
That's the cruiserweight.
I'm mad I can't find this picture because it was so cool, like seeing like some of the really early ones.
Yeah.
Like it's weird that they were much more square back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the NWA title is more or less a DVD box. You know, it's just a perfect rectangle.
All right, so moving.
That's why they always hold it like this. Nobody ever wears it because I don't think you can wear it.
I don't think you can
I think
wear
it's
it
just
either.
flat.
They're just like, I also have my copy of The Big Lebowski in my belt.
All right, moving topics here. I think another big story this week was the ending of the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, and that was involving Austin Aries. For those of you who didn't see it, it was a match between John Morrison and
It had a
Austin
lot
Aries.
of interesting build-up.
Yeah, well, yeah, we talked in depth on Wrestling Street Radio about that last week because Rachel had a lot. She was very unhappy with Austin Aries, and so she had a lot to say about it. If you guys want to hear about the whole Austin Aries tweet controversy, go check out last week's episode. But after all of that, the main event finally occurred, and I don't know if you guys watched the match, but I enjoyed the match. It was very much like a shoot feel to it. You know, it felt like they were trying to fight each other, and to play off of the whole, defending his wife. No, not the match itself, no, but it had that vibe, like
Okay.
they looked like they felt
But
they
the
wanted to
ending
beat
was.
each other up. Well, the ending, I'm not positive, to be honest with you. So the ending,
Yeah, the ending is. I've watched that thing at least 5 or 6 times, and I still don't know.
So for those who didn't see it, the Johnny Impact, John Morrison, hit Starship Pain on Austin Aries. He pins him for the 1-2-3. But literally, like within seconds,
With any finish, you should you shouldn't do.
no,
Yeah,
of course
with any
not.
finish.
But within seconds, Aries hops up to his feet, jumps to the apron, flips off Don Callis, starts like talking shit to the crowd. It looks like, then walks to the back, flips off Johnny Impact, walks away. And I think a lot of people were confused. I think a lot of people wanted to know if it was legit. I asked around. I asked a lot of people. I checked in. Most seemed to agree that it was legit. That he actually was pretty pissed off about the whole thing. That, but the problem is that I don't understand what he was pissed off about necessarily.
Yeah.
Like I've been trying to figure that out. That's what I've been asking around, and I can't figure that out. That's the part that confuses me.
The way it's just now that we know that. I mean, with not with WWE. I'm sorry. With professional wrestling as a whole, it's so hard to trick people nowadays.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I wouldn't say it's almost impossible.
I mean, it's hard.
It's
I think
hard,
I think
dude.
it's easier in an organization like Impact to do it than it would be in WWE.
Yes.
And the reason that I say
WWE does it all the time.
hold on though, but it's not like this where you're like, is this real or not? And the reason why is Impact is a smaller company, which means that everybody is not necessarily a spoke in the wheel. They are their own wheel. They are kind of a little bit more in control of the narrative than they would be in WWE, where everybody has like millions of followers on Twitter and Instagram. They have 1 billion hours of programming coming out every single week. They're a media producer, whereas Impact is a wrestling program. And so I think that it's easier for Impact to pull off a swerve or to pull off something with the right minds behind it. And they do have some really talented individuals behind the thought process too. So I'm of the opinion that this is all a work.
it seems like it to me because but here's why I'm a little bit on the fence because yes, him leaving, flipping off Don Callis and flipping out John Morrison is one thing. But the one thing about wrestling that seems to still be protected more than not is the actual moves and the wrestling, and the selling, and not making the other guy look stupid, because that's really what it did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in my opinion, it took away a lot of steam of Johnny Impact winning.
Absolutely,
It took away a lot of it.
Well, it wasn't the talking point coming out of the show.
It wasn't, not at all. And
Which is a problem because the reason they're putting the belt on him, I would imagine, is because he's starring on Survivor right now, and they want the press of Survivor Star wins World Championship.
Yeah.
But instead, it was like Survivor Star is involved in this weird thing where a guy might have gone off script.
Because it border. That's why I'm having trouble planting my foot on either
Me
if it's
too.
a work or if it's not, because there are sides that look like, oh my God, it's clearly a work, because like he made a big grandstand of doing this whole thing, and he kind of like, if that's the way you're gonna there are way more effective ways to protest,
Yep.
that if you really wanted to make that match terrible,
He could have easily done it.
he could have phoned it in. Could have Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan it up, and they could have done nothing about it. They just because you pay me doesn't mean I have to do it good.
Yeah.
And that's why like the match itself, because I didn't watch the match at first, and then I saw it, and it was a pretty decent match. Not a match that you would need full cooperation
Yes.
from both Austin and Johnny.
Yes.
And I saw that throughout. The only time, that's why it was so weird to me, because it looked like the only time where they weren't working with each other was after the match.
Right?
And it was
Jamie, I am 100% with you. That's why I have so much trouble with this as well, is that like Don Callis and Scott D'Amore seem smarter than that. They know that if they had booked Austin Aries to do that, yes, it would have gotten people talking, but it would have gotten people talking in the wrong way. Yes, we're talking about it, but we're not talking about how like it's this thing we want to tune into. We're talking about how
it just seems like, why would we want to ever tune into anything Austin Aries ever does again? He seems like an asshole.
Yeah, and that's confusing. Like that's not how you'd want the biggest pay-per-view of the year, so to speak, to end.
Okay, so I know, I've read reports that Austin Aries' contract is over with them as well.
So Petey Williams, who's a backstage producer and agent, he did an interview shortly after on his podcast. It's called the Wrestling Perspective Podcast, and his co-host was interviewing him basically, and yeah, Petey Williams said his contract was up after he got pinned. So he made it sound as though Austin Aries, to answer your question, he made it sound as though Austin Aries did that because technically Austin Aries was under contract during the match. But when he got pinned, he was no longer under contract.
But still, even if you're under contract, you don't have to be like, I don't think in a contract it ever says
You have to work
good matches.
I don't buy this being a shoot one bit. I don't buy the idea that anybody went off script. I don't buy any of that. This is all just designed to create like a buzz whenever he shows up again all of a sudden. Like, I mean, this is wrestling. Nothing new happens.
But what's
like,
confusing to
like
me about
Aries
that
is going to
that
show.
didn't they already see? I mean, maybe not because they weren't there when it happened and they probably weren't watching. But like, Impact just did that without Del Rio, Albertron, and it turned people off majorly.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
So I don't understand why they're like, well, that was just Del Rio. They like Austin Aries, so if Austin does it, it's okay. Well, no, people don't like it.
Do you think that like Austin Aries and them don't have future plans for him to come back? Like, I mean, I feel like this whole thing is a long-term booking angle, guys. Like, I mean, I understand that it felt so off and everything like that too. But when Aries when he shows back up in Impact against Johnny Impact, like it's one of those things where it's just like people are gonna be like, "Holy crap, there's Aries! What the hell's going on here?"
I agree with you.
Like, I mean, I think that this is all just a long-term booking plan.
And it could be.
I agree. If you ask me, just like. Ryan, not in your news opinion, in your normal person opinion, looking at everything, producer in you, what do you think? Yeah, that's 100% what I think too.
Yeah.
Is that like I have a very hard time believing that this was legit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we have seen stuff like this happen in wrestling before, so it's not like out of the realm of possibility either.
Why would he flip off Don Callis?
That's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me.
Like, so, like, what reasons does Austin Aries have to be mad at Impact? They've literally done nothing but showcase the dude as, like, the top of his industry.
They gave him the belt, like, the first week he was back.
That guy was
only thing I can think is that John Morrison they gave him the belt, and then John Morrison comes strolling in off of Lucha Underground or whatever, and because he's former WWE guy, which I know Austin Aries is too, but that's not how he's treated. You bring in former WWE guy John Morrison, and because he gets booked to be on a reality show, you took the belt off of me that I helped make relevant again these past 6 months.
Yeah.
And you gave it to him just because
Which
he's
could
on
also
Survivor.
be possible. It's like we just kept saying, Eli. Like we really don't know.
Yeah.
We really don't know. Like it's.
I mean, you know, like I'm pretty far away from it, but just as somebody who's been a fan of this industry for a long time, and not only that, but has been an active viewer of it through many swerves, through many, you know, like shoots, or, you know, work shoots, I should say. Like it just, I feel like they have more control over the situation than people are you know, admitting to.
Yes, and like I said, I agree with you. You know, Don Callis was on the Sam Roberts podcast as well today, and that's actually why I was listening to the Sam Roberts podcast before I heard the Crown Jewel stuff that he was saying on there. But Callis said something, and this interview was recorded prior to Bound for Glory happening.
Okay.
And he basically implied that he doesn't tell his talent what to do. That when it comes to creative things, that he lets them kind of take some creative freedom, and that he wouldn't necessarily, after the match, be like, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Or this, that, and the other. And if something happens during the match that he feels that he could turn into something, that he'll then take advantage of it after the fact. Which almost sounded like that's what they're going to do with Austin Aries before it ever happened. So I don't know.
I mean, I will admit,
I am on the fence with you. I am leaning more towards you.
It's very rare that in the wrestling industry where people question whether or not it's a work or a shoot. So to that effect, if it is in fact a work, they've done a damn good job.
True. Well, I don't know about that because
they've done an adequate job.
Because
they've done a job.
Well, because I like this tweet from David Starr today, who's an indie wrestler, and he said your job as a heel is to draw people to buy tickets to watch you get your ass kicked by the babyface. But if you do something that crosses the line where fans aren't willing to buy a ticket to see you anymore, then by definition, you're no longer doing your job. So that was an interesting way of kind of like thinking of this Austin Aries thing. That, yeah, I get that he's like trying to be a bad guy. He wants you to boo him. But I do think you can cross the line in today's wrestling world where like people will just turn off from you instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a lot. I mean, it didn't read so much as controversial, and people were like, oh, I want to go see what Austin Aries is doing next after that. It didn't really read like that. It read so much like, oh, well, it took his ball and went home. You know, like it's like he kind of did, because, you know, he did a thing that is greatly frowned upon in the world of professional wrestling, and that's no sell a finish, especially in a championship match.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, a lot of wrestling fans like to think that they know everything and that they can like give opinions on this, and that it will. A lot of wrestling fans have gone to that conclusion that, yo, fuck this guy, you know, like he did something that is really dishonorable in the world of professional wrestling. Again, I can't say it's a valid opinion because 80% of the people making it weren't there, myself included. Yeah, and it's just to go off of what David Starr said. It's like it really dangerously bounces around that line of, is this really entertainment or is this just guy just being an asshole for asshole's sake?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when you're someone who people aren't, when you have been made to have that reputation by certain people, it doesn't help either. Like when it's kind of like a way people perceive you already, or at least
and it has been with him for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, even
most of his career.
Even the thing with Petey Williams, they were like, well, was he mean like before? Like, was he in a bad mood before the match or anything? And he was kind of like, well, he's Austin Aries, so
it's hard to tell.
It was just Austin Aries being Austin Aries before the match. Yeah. So that's kind of like the reputation he has. All right, last topic here. WWE announced a bunch of new signings today. Today is Thursday. We're recording this.
quite a pickup, I'd say.
Do you think there's some good ones this time?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So for those of you who didn't see it, it's Matt Riddle. Well, a lot of these names have been rumored for a minute, but now it's confirmed. So Matt Riddle, Chelsea Green, who was Laurel Van Ness in,
which I think is a great
Impact,
pickup for them.
Mia Yim and Punishment Martinez from Ring of Honor.
And so 4 of the 5 of those people, I know their work. I know Mia Yim through my time at MLW, and I really think she's a special talent with that one. And she's almost like if Asuka was scarier. You know, like
Asuka, who doesn't play video games and actually beat you up in real life.
Yeah, if Asuka really like chewed nails for breakfast. You know, that's really what Mia Yim is. And Matt Riddle, obviously, everybody know. I mean, if you're a wrestling fan or other than WWE, chances are you know who Matt Riddle is. He's acclimating. Seems to be acclimating nicely to the NXT roster. So good for Matt. And Chelsea Green I think has always been just if not, she will get signed. But when will she get signed? And I'm glad she did.
It's crazy that she's been so adjacent to WWE for so long, and that they didn't sign her. Like the fact that she was on the same season of Tough Enough as Velveteen Dream and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. It's pretty crazy that she was part of all that.
Yeah. So and I mean, from what I see of her work, she's a hard worker. Chelsea puts the work in, and she will put the work in coming into NXT. So I think that's also a great get. I don't know much about Punishment Martinez. He's a new name to me. When you started reporting that he was talking to WWE and then he signed, I wasn't too familiar with him. And so there was.
I felt bad for him a little bit because he's fucking tall. Like he's a big dude. But in the picture of the signing, he's next to a dude who's 7'3".
Yeah.
So he doesn't look tall. Like, you don't notice how tall he is because he's standing next to a guy who's 7'3".
So wait, it was Matt, Punishment.
You named them all.
No,
you named the four major ones.
but there's one I'm missing. It was
Matt, Chelsea, Mia, and Punishment Martinez.
Oh, there's only 4. I thought there were 5.
Well, there's
a few
other
others,
signings.
but I don't.
Oh, okay.
There's a dude that's 7'3".
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'll be honest with you, that was the one where I was like, "Oh, really? 7'3"? You say?"
I always like when they have a giant that comes in like that.
Who is your favorite giant?
Oh. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
In wrestling?
Yeah. I would go with.
I have a few other giants.
Okay. Who is your favorite non-Big Show or Andre Giant? I mean, it's gonna be hard for me not to go Kurgan.
What?
I like Kurgan.
Why? What has he done other than his
dude.
Hollywood career is impeccable?
Hey,
he's in a lot of movies.
Can you just remind me of Kurgan after show? I want to tell you something that Jamie's
by the way,
working on.
I want you to tell me something else after the show.
Okay.
Because Kurgan stood out to me because he was of the two giants and the oddities, he was the one that actually seemed like he understood what the joke was and also was coordinated.
So wait, they're considered a giant?
There was 3 giants in the oddities. There was Kurgan.
Oh yeah,
there was Golga.
Giant Silva.
Yeah,
yes.
Golga's not really a giant. He was Earthquake, and he'd already lost an ample amount of weight at that period of time. He was big, but he was not giant size.
My favorite giant would have to be Kane.
I was gonna say, I feel like you have to go Kane if you took out those other people.
My favorite
You would go
giant.
with Undertaker?
Is Undertaker a giant?
Is Kane a giant?
Kane's taller than the Undertaker.
Kane's way taller than Undertaker.
Kane's not way taller than the Undertaker.
I want to know about way, but he is taller.
I don't think he is. I think he's short. I think
he's definitely taller than the Undertaker.
I'm looking at like a scale, so that's how I technically knew. He's 6'10", Undertaker, and Kane's 7 foot.
I don't believe it. I'm sorry. Like,
what do you mean?
What are you looking at?
Google? I don't know.
No. No, here's why. Here's why I say that.
In every shot of Undertaker and Kane together, Kane is always the bigger one.
Kane's boots are real thick, guys. I remember when he first got introduced, I was like, Kane's boots are super thick, and that's why he's as tall as the Undertaker.
If you think that his boots were thick,
not as tall as the Undertaker, though.
No, he's not. He's taller. And if you think that his boots were thick just because they had to be lit on fire that one time, that's not why they're thick.
I feel like that's he's way
taller.
Hey, they're standing on different parts of a sloping ramp in that picture. That's not fair. That's like being like, well, the hobbits are way shorter, and the shot is like, yeah, it's called forced perspective. That's how they shot Lord of the Rings.
You're not right on this one. Kane is taller.
I'm trying to find a better picture. Like here, he's looking up at Kane.
I'm telling you, Kane has thick boots.
He's not on stilts. You act like Kane's walking around on stilts.
He would break his ankles if he had to wrestle on platform shoes.
Fake news. This is all fake news.
Yeah, the list here, it says top 15 tallest wrestlers of all time, and it looks like it appears to go in order of height.
See it.
So it's Undertaker, Kurgan, Big Show, Kane, Khali,
Kane
Giant
is taller
Silva,
than the Big Show.
Giant Silva, Andre the Giant, and the dude with the hair. What's his name? What's his name? The guy.
Giant Gonzalez.
Giant Gonzalez. There we go.
Wait, I scratched what I said. Giant Gonzalez is my favorite giant.
Big Show. Yeah, because actually, now that you say
purely because of his outfit,
Kane's not taller than Big Show. Oh, they're both 7 foot. It says.
Hey, I'm telling you. I'm telling you this on this level. When he was Isaac Yankem, he was wrestling Bret Hart, and he wasn't a giant compared to Bret Hart.
I don't know about that.
And Big Show is taller than Kane. I'm looking at them standing side by side. He's a lot taller.
Of course he is. He's a giant.
Of course he is a giant, for God's sakes.
I'm standing by my
Actually,
statement.
he's not that much taller. When you look at like this picture, they're standing at the same spot of the ramp, and they're like not that far off from each other.
Yeah, show's got maybe a couple inches on him.
Like a couple inches, maybe.
Yeah, well, if
I mean, look how tall Seth is. He's taller than all of them.
Wait. How tall is Jamie Noble, though? Anyways, I'll find conclusive evidence backing up my claim later.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I feel like if I had to pick my number, it'd be Kane. Even though I don't really
Kane all the way.
Yeah, even though like,
He had that dope clothesline from the top rope.
Yeah, that's true. He did have that. How do we even get to that point? How did we get there? What were we talking about before that? Oh, the signing.
The giant dude.
Yeah, no, but I love when they sign a giant because I get excited. Like I remember the whole time Lars Sullivan was in NXT. How tall is Lars? I don't know.
He's not tall. Lars isn't tall. Lars is just wide.
What is the name of our show now? How tall is ...
This is literally this is a show of things you could look up on Google.
Ryan, Jamie, and Eli Google things and go, wow.
And Eli still doesn't believe it.
Yeah, no, Lars isn't tall. Sorry.
No, Lars is short.
Yeah,
he's just wide. He's like a can of soup.
I just remember
like,
when he got
like
signed.
Rhino.
I just remember when Lars got signed, he was always posting pictures of his hand. And
Yeah.
His hands are so massive that I was like, oh, that guy's going to be cool
Because he
one
looks
day.
like Killer Kowalski. He looks like
Yeah.
Killer Kowalski had a baby.
Yeah.
Like
Hey, you know what one of my favorite Giants was that never went anywhere and actually disappeared real fast was when they were actually advertising season 3 of NXT, the TV show. They were going to do all women.
Eli Cottonwood.
And
Oh.
No. There was a all women's show,
Yes.
and the first couple of advertisements they made for it, there was a giant woman, and she ended up doing something pornographic or something like that. And
I think I broke that story.
Okay,
What was her name? Oh,
I can't
Amazon
remember, but I
something.
remember seeing her and being like, this woman is going to be a huge star in WWE because she's humongous.
and she picked the other star first.
Yeah, I know.
Not a wrestling star.
I know, she blew it.
Began with a P.
She blew it.
What was that girl's name? I hate that I'm Googling something else again, but because it's going to drive me crazy. Because I think NXT season 3, the women, what was her name? They never had her there, so she
never showed up.
She never showed up, so I can't find her name, and it's
I'll
pissing
find
me,
it.
It's pissing me off. But yeah, no, I remember thinking the same thing when that happened. I always felt bad. I felt bad for that girl that she got fired when
God, she was humongous.
she was so big. I remember. What was her name though? Figure it out.
Aloysia.
No.
I'm looking at a picture I just looked up.
Okay, so back to the topic at hand, though. Sorry that we've gotten so far off there. But
Isis the Amazon.
I knew it had Amazon in the name.
also
Isis
known
the
as
Amazon.
Aloysia.
I knew there was another name for
6'8" and a quarter.
Wow.
Show me the picture.
You there?
But out of all these people, I agree with you, Jamie, that this is a good batch.
It's a great batch.
They might be people that have already made a name for themselves elsewhere, but I mean, this is a talented group of individuals. I mean, Matt Riddle. Oh, she was so tall. Yeah,
I remember just looking at that.
Wasn't it
being
like bug squashing videos where she was like naked and bug squashing?
It was something that nobody would pay for.
Yeah, it was like something so stupid.
I mean, that some people would love to pay for, but still.
It's my favorite fetish, the bug smashing one. Not personally, like that's a fetish. Not like that's my favorite fetish, but like
That's my thing.
That's my thing, bug smashing. But I always that's like I've seen so many, like when I was at TMZ, and I remember that girl who was Jesse James's mistress,
Yeah.
and the one that was all tatted up,
Yeah.
and I did a story on her, like all these crazy fetish videos she did where she was like stomping little action figures. And that was like a fetish too.
I don't like that. Yeah.
Leave my toys alone.
Don't step on my toys, you minx.
Monster.
I'll take ISIS any day.
But okay, so Matt Riddle, obviously, I mean, out of all these people, I think Matt Riddle, in my opinion, like Matt Riddle seems like he has
Yeah,
potential to be a top guy.
you're high on no pun intended. You're high on Matt.
Well, I've been high on Matt Riddle
A long time.
a long time.
Yeah.
Like I reported when he first started training to wrestle under Blue Meanie, like when I was at TMZ back in the day. So like I've been following Matt Riddle since he first
And
transitioned
dude,
to wrestling.
I gotta be honest, when you put it on paper, the surfer bro, dude. It's like, oh, we're gonna get another Johnny Ace, you know. But it's,
See, I picture more of like a Hulk Hogan, and I don't know if that's weird for me to say.
No,
I know it's
I
like,
picture Johnny Ace when
Really?
I read that. When I read, not when I see him.
Yeah.
When I read on paper that Matthew Riddle, what's his character? He's a stoner surfer bro. I picture Johnny Ace immediately because that's what he was. He was the radical dude or whatever. What was the name of his group? What was it?
Bodacious?
The Bodacious dudes, or whatever. Radical dudes, Bodacious dudes.
No, I don't think it's bodacious either. It's something dudes.
Some
Two
90s
dudes with attitudes.
Yeah, some 90s term.
Dynamic dudes.
Dynamic dudes. But that's what I get. But
No, I
then,
can see that.
But then when I saw him, it's different because it is who he is.
Yeah.
Like there nobody will know who this Insta person is, but there was this famous guy named Malibu Ninja, and he was this surfer, and he really talked like Spicoli from
Fast Times.
Fast Times. Like that was really how he talked. Like that's who he became an internet personality.
Like TMZ Max. Same thing, yeah.
And that's Matt Riddle would not have worked if that really wasn't who he is in real life.
Oh, yeah.
It would not have worked. And it did. And I'm genuinely curious also what his weed habits are now.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious.
I'm sure he's toned it down now that he's, under contract and all that kind of stuff. Because he's really, even in the past year leading up to
Not
it,
so much-
like he's really tried to.
Not so much promoting it.
Yeah.
Not so much promoting it, but just doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, cause,
You'd be shocked. I mean, not you personally wouldn't be shocked, but like most wrestlers smoke weed.
yeah, I know they do. But I'm saying when you're at NXT and you blatantly have a shirt that dude practically has it tattooed on his forehead and says "Test me."
Yeah.
You know, like like it's not so much maybe he's smoking weed. It's like, no, this guy's been clearly high 80% of his career.
To be honest with you, that right there is why I think that he has potential to transcend into pop culture, like into being
I think so
the number
too.
one guy, is because I think a lot of people who watch wrestling are not necessarily as good looking and ripped as he is while doing it, but I think like a majority who watch wrestling kind of like smoke weed and joke around and have that same vibe.
If WWE was about to have a much laxer, what if Matt Riddle changes their whole perspective on this whole thing?
Well, Rob Van Dam was there, and Rob Van Dam smoked weed, so I mean, like, it's not like they've never had a popular stoner on the roster. You know?
But
Like, Rob Van Dam
Rob Van Dam's time was a very different time in the WWE.
Yes, but to be honest with you, I think they're cooler with weed now than they were then.
I
think they're much
They should
cooler.
be. Weed is legal in many, many, many places.
Yeah.
We just got legalized in Canada.
Yeah, so I think that's a lot different. Like back in Rob Van Dam's day, you could get fired for
He did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he didn't get fired, but he lost both titles.
Yeah. Now you just get a fine, so I don't think you're not getting like suspended for weed or anything like that.
No, I don't think he would either.
So I don't know. They don't suspend for weed.
I think in terms of somebody like Matt Riddle, like I agree with you, like that the authentic layer of his character is what's going to get him over. And the difference between him and Johnny Ace, let's say, is that Matt Riddle actually says dude.
Yeah.
And when somebody doesn't actually say dude and they say dude, it sounds horribly inauthentic. It sounds very stilted. But when somebody does say dude, like for instance in my workplace, like I mean, like I'm a surfer and just like and there's a lot of that drawl that goes along with the way that you speak a lot of times.
Yeah,
and when
we're in the text message group with you, we know.
Yeah, but the thing is like, but when somebody actually authentically speaks that way and lives that lifestyle, people celebrate that.
Yeah.
Like they celebrate that aspect of who that character is because it is legitimately them. The same way in some circumstances that people celebrated Stone Cold's character because like, hey, this isn't a deviation from who he is. This is who he is actually.
Yeah.
But I also think that at the time, Austin spoke to people because it was like, people wanted to like hate their boss and all that kind of stuff. I think people will relate to Matt Riddle in the same way of like, hey, that guy looks like he could be my little brother or my best friend or my boyfriend.
I want to hang out with him.
I want to hang out with that guy, and
he's a good dude.
I think I truly believe, like, I don't think there's anyone in WWE that you watch the show and you go like,
he is really that person.
well, Braun Strowman is one of the few who you watch the show and you go like, I kind of want to hang out with that guy.
Yeah.
I bet you that guy's fucking fun to hang out
But
with.
the difference maker is like you don't look at Randy Orton on the show and be like, well, he's like that 24/7. I
kind of do think of that when I think of
Yeah,
Randy.
I think Randy Orton is an asshole.
Maybe Randy Orton is a bad example of it. But a lot of these people, you don't look at like New Day and be like, I think that they probably are doing these crazy hand gestures and like hip swaggers.
Well,
and,
they are.
They are.
All right, well,
You're
maybe
using
You're
horrible
literally using
examples.
the worst examples possible right now.
I don't think that Dustin Rhodes really paints his face.
So you did it for a charity event.
It's like, shoot. All right, I'll come up with something. right. I don't think that Glenn Jacobs is wearing a mask when he goes to work as mayor.
He did it at a campaign rally with his fake brother.
All right. I bequeath my point.
You know what was kind of funny about that whole photo op is the Undertaker didn't have to wear anything, but Kane wore the mask. Like when
like when Kane was on what was
The
that
Weakest Link.
The Weakest Link,
yeah, and he was the only one that made him in gear.
And he's like in gear answering questions real seriously with his
The
mask
rest
on.
of them had to wear regular clothes. Kane always got like he was the only one in a tank top, see-through. His nipples were showing. And he was on.
He won, right?
I think he won.
I think he did,
Yeah.
I can't wait to cut that clip for YouTube or for social media of Jim Eli trying to give us examples and just failing so hard.
All right. One more try.
It's like, wait, Xavier Woods plays video games in real life?
Wait. Okay, never mind.
Living the gimmick. Holy shit.
I got nothing. Okay.
Oh my god. Sorry,
But to go
our
off-
genuine faces, they were just like, "What are you saying?"
But to kind of bring the horses back to the stable, yes. Matt Riddle, going off what I was saying originally, if he was just some wrestler that needed a new gimmick repackaged as some surfer guy, yeah, it would have been horrible. Probably would have been laughed out of the arena. But I was greatly surprised the first time I started seeing Matt's matches, and then when I got to meet the guy and actually got to work with him at MLW, he doesn't shut off, and that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
You really, because there are days where I genuinely think I'm a pretty upbeat guy. You know, I like quirky things. You know, there are days where I don't want to be this eccentric person that I am.
No.
Matt never has that day. Matt is always Matt Riddle. Matt is always he talks to everybody.
He's so friendly.
He's
the most friendly guy.
friendliest guy I've ever seen.
Yes.
I mean, you feel like he genuinely brings you into a conversation like you were there from the beginning.
But don't you think, and maybe that's just me, I don't know, but I get this vibe that I feel like that's very Hulk Hogan-esque. Now, I know not current day Hulk Hogan, but back in the day, like, you felt like Hulk Hogan could be your friend. Like, you felt like that guy fights, like, he's a cool American dude.
Well, despite the fact that Hulk Hogan was humongous, he played the role of an everyman.
But Riddle's pretty big. I mean, like,
he's a tall motherfucker.
He's tall, he's buff, like... I don't know.
He's got probably the longest legs of any male wrestler in the world.
And he could beat up probably almost the entire roster legitimately. Wow. So
How tall is he?
Man, can you imagine the dream match of Brock and Matt going
I mean, that has to be
6'2".
Okay, that has to be what they're going for.
I got the shirt right before. I bought it right as he got signed. The
Brock Lesnar shirt,
the Brock Lesnar one, the retired Brock Lesnar shirt, the smoke weed, throw hands, retire Brock or whatever. I feel like, man, Brock Lesnar versus Matt Riddle could be huge.
It'd be two hosses going at it.
It would take in order for it to be like a unforgettable thing. It would definitely take a lot longer though. Like Matt Riddle's gonna have to. Takes time to get there, obviously.
Well, I mean,
he's got to have a whole career in NXT, then a whole up and coming career. They're not going to feed him to Brock as soon as he gets brought up.
That's solid 3 years.
I just didn't want anyone to think I was like saying that. Like I think in like 5 years though,
at least
if he's not main eventing WrestleMania, if it's not like him and Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream like in the main event scene, like it's a problem because those three. Money written all over.
And by the way, I know we're going off topic a little bit. It's so not scary, but insane how quickly you get Velveteen Dream. Like, I have people come over, like when I just have the network on, nobody who has watched a lick of wrestling, not an ounce, and they get Velveteen immediately. Yeah. They get it and they love it. And that's so rare in this business. So that I think Velveteen, and to a lesser extent, he's still up there, Aleister Black, are the only two talent I know that are just almost impervious to this NXT WWE transition that some people have trouble with.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who think that Velveteen Dream is going to end up like some
Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, or Adam Rose or something like that, or No Way Jose. And I don't agree with that. I think that he is
I think
way beyond
he's done way more in NXT than any of those.
And I
people
think
that
the
you
Tyler
saw.
Breeze did a lot in NXT. Though.
Yeah.
He was in title matches, fought Liger. Like, he did a lot when he was in NXT.
I mean, Neville was a heavyweight champion.
You know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not out of the realm.
Bo
you know?
Dallas got relevant a week ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm not that. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but you know how long he's been with the company.
Not that much of an exaggeration. I mean, he didn't really do much after getting called up. I mean, they tried to have a few stop and start pushes, but they never really did that much with him.
They blew it with him.
Yeah, they definitely blew it with him. I saw someone suggest that he should be the one who attacked Aleister Black
And send him back down. Well, I think. Well, do you know who attacked Aleister Black?
I don't know.
Oh.
I saw the taping last. I saw the. If you're talking about are you talking about from the taping last night? What happened?
Yes.
So I think that would.
Do you think that was
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Okay, well,
spoiler
make
alert.
it a huge spoiler
I am.
alert.
Spoiler
Like,
alert!
if you do not want to know who attacked Aleister Black, stop right now.
Yeah, because I'm gonna end the show in like literally 2 minutes, so you can stop listening. I've gotten your
If
download.
you do not want to
I've gotten
know
your
who
listen.
attacked Aleister Black, stop listening.
Stop listening
now.
now. But
Although
also,
I don't want you guys to know, I don't think it's legit. So
Okay, but also thanks for tuning in.
yes,
too.
thank you for tuning in. But that's your spoiler.
Then
alert.
get out.
Johnny Gargano is who they made it seem like it was at the taping last night. But I think there's going to be more stuff that, vignettes, or not vignettes, backstage packages that we're going to see to make more sense of it.
Yeah, because when I found out it was that, I was a little disappointed.
I don't think it's going to be him. I saw it. That's what people were reporting it as. But the only reason they're saying that is because he came out, he attacked Aleister Black, and then he put on a black hoodie to like imply that it was him. And then Candice was there, and Candice was like in darker makeup and stuff like that. I think it's all a ruse. I think it's all bait and switch that we're going to find out. Because, I don't know, like, do you really care about Johnny Gargano?
No.
No.
And Johnny Gargano, it being him is almost like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
of
how
course
I
it
feel.
is.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
like,
It was
cool.
me all along.
That's like when
I low-key hope it was Regal.
I mean, but like before, like, I mean, this whole thing, I mean, we're not going to get into Star Wars debates, but the whole thing, I mean, it's not a spoiler anymore, but when they finally reveal that, first, for a long time, Rey from Star Wars, it was big contention of who her parents were.
Yeah.
And everybody was so sure that it was Luke, and all the clues were pointing to Luke. And I was like, okay, it does make sense, but it's like, okay, it's kind of like a cop-out. Like, okay,
Another one of
course
these
it's-
things.
It's
Yeah.
another one of these things. I felt that way with Johnny Gargano.
I
And-
agree with you, although I was hoping it was Ray's parents were Luke.
Yeah,
and
well,
someone else.
we still may not know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't.
But,
I'm still holding up. I don't believe Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
I'm
I think he was
hoping-
fucking with her.
Me too.
I'm hoping it's like Lobot.
It was definitely Lobot.
You
I love Lobot.
Yeah, you love referencing Lobot.
Yeah, he's great.
You cannot marry a woman with gills. You're from two different worlds.
Nah, I still hope it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's why I want her parents.
It would
her dad to
be. It would make them like we talked about
Yeah.
it. Like, it would make the most sense if it was Obi-Wan.
That's what I really want. Is that then we find out in the time after that? Oh, then we get to learn what Obi-Wan was up
Get
to.
the baby
basically.
mama on Tatooine.
Yeah, I want that story.
Yeah.
That's a story I'm cool with.
Obi-Wan's secretly only on Tatooine for like 2 or 3 days. The entire time. Just like, no, I dropped the kid
I
off.
was here the entire time. I swear.
I dropped the kid off and then hit the bottle.
Yeah, I was watching your kid this whole time. All right, Jay, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at JAMIE_IOVINE or on Instagram at JAMIEIOVINE. And this week, as you know, Network is up and running. We
I
just
plugged
had
it a bunch last week for
Yes,
you.
we
Congrats,
had.
by the way.
Thank
Congrats.
you, appreciate that. So we just had our drop with Ben Baller, Michael Rappaport. That went really well. So that was awesome. So this Friday at 5:00 p.m. Pacific time on the Network app. That's NTWRK. We are doing a drop for the mid-90s movie that Jonah Hill's got coming out this
Ooh.
weekend. It's the new skater movie that
is that
he
out
did.
this weekend?
It comes out this
Oh,
weekend.
shit, I
Yes,
wanna see that.
and it's a great movie. I've seen it. It's incredible. I think everybody needs to go see it, especially people who remember the skater culture of the '90s. And we're doing a capsule collection drop with them. It's this dope hoodie that we made in conjunction with the movie.
Oh, cool.
And you can only get it on the app. So, like I said, tomorrow.
This
at 5:00.
airing Friday.
It's airing Friday. So yes, that wouldn't be tomorrow. So airing Friday, October. That's October
Yeah, do that, 'cause-
19th.
There we
Friday, October 19th on Network Live at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We're gonna have Jonah Hill joining us. He's gonna talk about the movie.
I didn't realize he's there too.
Yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
cast is gonna be there talking about the movie
Sick.
as well. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a fun little interview. We're gonna drop some products. Tune in.
Awesome.
Nice.
Eli, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Elijah Bates and on Instagram at Brindlebeard.
And you can find me. I'm at Ryan Satin on all social media. It's ProWrestlingSheet.com, at Wrestling Sheet on social media. And for those of you who are listening to the audio of this, go check out the video as well. It's a fun video. You get to see our faces, get to see our reactions, get to see me lose my shit over here for Eli's terrible suggestions.
His citing
right.
of president.
So you can see our faces on there. It's youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. That's where the recap shows that I do with Roka go. That's where some of the lists that I do go. It's just in general, YouTube content, wrestling YouTube content. You like it? I know you want it. Go to youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. Subscribe there. Like the video. Share. Subscribe. All that kind of stuff. Leave a comment. It really, really does help us out a lot if you guys do that. Also, for those of you who are watching on video, hello, hi, go to the audio feed. It's Wrestling Sheet Radio on Podcast One, iTunes. I just fixed it, so it should be on Stitcher again, should be on Podbean again. I'm working on getting it back in Google Play. It does not look like it's going to be going back to Spotify. But go check out the audio feed if you're just watching the video. If you go there, there's other shows like Top 5 with James and Kevin. There's Best of the Rest with Rachel, Sam Evans, and Aaron Turner. And I'm trying to put more interviews on there as well as a few things I have lined up. I got a fun interview scheduled for Monday, actually.
Sweet.
So make sure you guys check that. I don't know what I'm putting out there, but it'll be out there.
Is it a surprise?
I don't think it's a surprise necessarily. I just don't want to say it in case like something happens and it like falls through. But it's gonna be Eve Marie, so I'm excited for it because you guys know I'm a longtime Total Divas fan. So
Yes, you are.
So I'm much more excited than you guys
are
will be.
all read everything.
But there are other interviews I'm working on as well that I'll hopefully have in the feed in the very near future. So make sure you guys check that out. Okay, that's it. We're done. Officially tapping out for now. Until next time, stay out of the dirt. Keep your eye on the sheet.